Joining us now, Christy Campagnone, Senior Managing Counsel for the ACLJ. A fun win, if you will, from the ACLJ. We always like to highlight these, Will. We like to bring on our lawyers to tell you, what the ACLJ is doing. You hear us on sort of the big level, on the ICC, that we're going after them, that their support of, or their lack of support of Israel, and them calling for warrants out for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu, and how the ACLJ team can get involved in those big global issues. But also, the bread and butter of the organization, what keeps us going, are these cases on the individual level. And I want you to hear this story. But first, if this resonates with you, if you feel like this is something that has happened to you or something similar has happened to you recently, and you think you could use some legal help, go to aclj.org/help. Fill out that simple form. You'll be attached to an ACLJ attorney at absolutely no cost. So I want to make sure that is clear. We are supported individually by ACLJ supporters and ACLJ champions. We can't do it without you, but because of you, we're able to take on these cases for people who likely would not have had the financial ability to hire a lawyer and do this. But Christy, I want you to give us sort of a breakdown of this case because it seems very simple, and oftentimes it is. It's just people who don't understand the rule of law and what we're doing here at the ACLJ. So go ahead.
Exactly. So we had a great win for our client who works at a hospital in Kansas. And she was told by her supervisor that Bible studies with coworkers are prohibited. And she didn't take that answer lying down. She went up to the HR and pushed all the way up to their legal, saying, well, wait a minute, can I have a private Bible study on my time off in my office or in the cafeteria? And even the hospital's legal team told her no, that she couldn't do that, that it was prohibited on anywhere on the hospital premises, including where other people are allowed to go and play cards or have book clubs or anything else. Think of a cafeteria in a hospital. All sorts of conversations are happening by anyone. It's a public domain. It's a public area. So I was very grateful when she came to us, and we wrote a demand letter very quickly to that same attorney who told her no. And we got a rapid response back where they didn't go as far as apologizing, but did say that she may discuss the Bible or her faith or anything else with any employee who wants to talk with her, as long as it's somewhere that isn't, patient care areas. So that would include the cafeteria, just like we had demanded. So it was a great victory for her, and I'm glad to say we resolved it swiftly.
And these sound like small wins, and I just want people to understand, Will, how important, obviously, this is to this individual's life, and yours, by the way, because this, at the end of the day, sets precedent that the ACLJ can come in and do this for you, because they sound like small wins, but at the end of the day, it is somebody who just simply wanted to practice their faith, in, like you said, in essentially a public space, in a cafeteria, have a Bible study time, say some prayers, do what they need to do quietly themselves. A overzealous boss figure comes in, stops this from happening. Maybe they're misinformed. Maybe they don't know. That's oftentimes what we find out. Is there a school, especially happens in schools, they hear the words, separation of church and state. I guess separation of church and hospital at this point. Though you've been, how many hospitals you've been to that are, one, run by religious organizations, or two, have like prayer rooms, have a chapel. Pretty much every hospital I've ever been into has that. But that doesn't stop for just, like you said, the customers, if you will, of the hospital. That also has to reflect back on the employees of this business. But this is why the ACLJ, again, has to get involved. And sometimes it can be done quick.
Well, and that's one point I want to bring up, is that it wasn't as if this was just one person made a mistake. The employee was told by her boss that she had offended others in a meeting.
Oh, yeah, go through that. Lead us through this.
Yeah, so the employee had brought this up in a meeting and was told by her direct supervisor that she had offended others by bringing up Bible studies in that meeting. And so then she went to HR, and HR seemed to okay it at first, but then, as Christy pointed out, it made it all the way up to corporate legal, who then shut it down, which you would think the legal department would be the ones that would know it's okay. But when it goes through all these layers, and then she contacts the ACLJ. We also have a record that we can go and inform many layers of this company and this hospital of the truth. And that's where we start off with a demand letter. And Christy, I want you to tell our audience what the importance of that tool is in a legal arsenal when you go against a misinformed company or school. Or
you say a demand letter, these are pretty serious documents coming from an organization called the American Center for Law and Justice. They take it seriously.
Exactly. I mean, we don't have to rush into court because we do have these tools that are able to resolve it without having to spend a significant time and money to try to go and fight this. Instead, we can just directly contact the hospital or a school or your workplace, and normally they will send it on to their attorney because they know better than to talk directly to us without an attorney and getting involved. And most of the time, we're able to resolve it there because the attorney should know the law. The attorney certainly isn't going to be able to argue with us without us bringing in the big guns of talking about Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and what the Supreme Court has held. And so as soon as we lay out those legal arguments, we talk about the Supreme Court case Bostock v. Clayton County, where it said that discrimination exists as soon as you are treating one coworker differently than another simply based on their religion. And once we start bringing out Supreme Court cases, it's very hard for the other side to make any arguments against it, and they very quickly comply.
Absolutely. And that is why we're here. And you said it great. That is what we're doing here. And I was on a call with you and your team yesterday. This is not a single, one case that's happening. We have so many that are happening. We're just focusing on this one today because there was a victory. But all of these individual cases, they can go all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, but some of them can be resolved very quickly with a legal demand letter that says, you're doing something wrong. They get a letter. Again, we're polite, firm, but polite. We take care of it, and it gets handled. Now, I know a lot of you are listening going, oh man, I've had something like this happen to me recently, but I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know I could just call the ACLJ or fill out the form on the website, get attached to a lawyer at no cost. You can. It's very easy. All you have to do is go to aclj.org/help. Once you do that, it's a simple form. And if it's within our scope, you're immediately attached to our lawyer at absolutely no cost. And they say, Logan, how do you do this with absolutely no cost? How does the ACLJ stand up and support all these people? Well, we can't do it without you, who also financially support the ACLJ. So while we're able to offer free legal services, that is because there are ACLJ donors and champions. And a champion is someone who gives to the ACLJ on a monthly recurring basis, essentially recurring donation at any level, by the way. And that gives us a baseline to hire incredible attorneys to put together this amazing media presentation for you so you can stay informed and you can share this. Look, I think it's important, even just this moment here with Christy. If you feel like this is happening, share this with maybe someone in your workplace. Share it with someone who you feel like is having this issue. They can then follow up with us. But you know what? Sometimes just knowing the facts, seeing the articles that are on our website at aclj.org, even just that will get you so informed that sometimes it doesn't have to go all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States. But Christy, if it needs to, we'll certainly be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're not at a loss of the fact that sometimes they're not responsive or they don't give us exactly what we've asked for. And so then we are quick to go and file a complaint. That process can take several years, but at the end, we always are seeing good things happening for our clients in regards to sometimes there's a settlement. So you don't have to stay in at a trial and getting all the way to the Supreme Court, but sometimes there's not. And sometimes we do have to fight it all the way up.
I'm going to ask you, thank you, Christy, but I'm going to ask you, the listener, the viewer, who's watching us right now, not only sign the petitions, get involved at aclj.org, aclj.org/help. Say a prayer for our ACLJ attorneys and their team. They're out there fighting the good fight each and every day for you. And look, under a lot of scrutiny and under a lot of attack each and every day. This sounds like a fun job. I'm sure there's good parts and bad parts, but just like everyone, they're out there fighting the good fight and they could use your support. So just say a prayer for them. You download the ACLJ prayer guide, really helps you through that as well. We encourage you to do that.